Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're working in financial services these days, it's pretty clear client expectations have really changed.
Oh, absolutely. They're not just looking for someone to sell them a policy anymore.
Right. It's about continuous value, isn't it? Real financial guidance, like a partnership that goes way beyond just signing on the dotted line.
It's a shift that had to happen, really. The market rewards professionals who can think, you know, beyond insurance.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into the framework Experior Financial Group uses. Specifically, how does that setup actually help an independent agent meet these higher demands and build a practice that lasts?
That's the core question. We need to unpack their tools, the support structure, and, frankly, the sheer amount of choice they offer agents.
Because for an independent pro, having that solid infrastructure, it's not just nice to have, it's make or break, really. We want to pull out the key strategic insights for you on what makes a practice truly sustainable.
Okay, so let's start right there with independence. For someone licensed, choosing to be independent, it's fundamentally about working for the client first, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you become their guide. You know the whole market, not just one company's offerings, like knowing uh, every store in the mall, not just one anchor tenant.
That's a great analogy. And the contrast, traditionally, is with a captive agent, someone tied to just one company.
But for the professionals listening, the strategic angle is maybe a bit deeper. Experior gives its network access to, over 30 carriers?
That's right, over 30 life insurance partners.
So beyond just more options, what's the real strategic edge there for the agent? Is it just about variety?
It's about market relevance and true customization. You're not forcing, say, a high net worth client or maybe a new immigrant family into a one-size-fits-all product.
Because that one size rarely fits anyone perfectly.
Exactly. Having that wide access means the agent can find very specific solutions, maybe for complex wealth transfer or unique health underwriting issues, or even specialized critical illness riders that only a couple of niche carriers might offer. That's real power in the market.
Okay, but hold on. 30 carriers. Doesn't that sound incredibly complex? I mean, managing the training, the different underwriting rules, the product details for, 36 companies. How does an agent not drown in that?
Yeah, that's where the MGA structure, the managing general agency, becomes absolutely critical. Experior basically manages that complexity for the agent.
So they centralize things.
Precisely. They handle the contracts, the relationships, the compliance frameworks, provide the training across the board. So the agent keeps their independence, but leans on Experior for that centralized support.
Okay, so it cuts through the noise, lets the agent focus on the client and, selling, not getting bogged down in admin.
That's the idea. It makes the choice manageable and powerful.
So, choice is pillar one. Let's talk pillar two, execution. Because choice without smooth execution, especially now, it does mean much.
You're absolutely right. Digitalization has just completely raised the bar.
Yeah.
We're way past just having a decent website.
Clients expect speed, clarity. If it's not intuitive, if it takes too many clicks,
They're gone. They just move on. So agents need precision tools. Experior provides things like powerful CRMs, efficient back office systems.
operational stuff.
Yeah, the essentials. And crucially, insurance quote tools. You need to be able to run fast, accurate comparisons across multiple carriers like instantly.
Okay, and that brings us to what you mentioned as the centerpiece, this proprietary software, the Expert Financial Analysis, or EF.
Yes, the EFA. This is really where I think Experior differentiates the experience. It turns complex planning into something visual and compelling.
So it's more than just a calculator.
Much more. Think of it as a centralized planning engine, a mapping tool. It gives the agent a really clear, accurate picture of the client's entire financial situation. And importantly, it lays out a step-by-step plan to get them where they want to go.
Okay, let's get practical. How does an agent actually use the EFA in a client meeting to build that confidence?
Well, it makes comparisons incredibly simple and transparent. An agent can pull up, say, 3 different policy options side by side, not just the premium, but projected cash values, benefit payouts, the whole picture.
So the client sees it develop in real time.
Exactly. It makes abstract ideas like debt reduction or how investments might grow really tangible. Verifiable data points right there on the screen.
Which takes the sales pitch feeling out of it, I imagine.
Completely. The agent is just guiding the client through data that the client can see and understand themselves. It builds huge credibility.
Because the numbers are doing the talking.
Right. When a client sees how they could pay off their mortgage, say, 7 years early, or the actual dollars saved by tackling high-interest debt differently, The conversation shifts. It's not about buying a product, it's about gaining financial control.
And the EFA helps project those debt strategies alongside the insurance needs.
Yes, seamlessly.
Yeah.
It boosts the agent's efficiency and, frankly, their authority in the room. It shows they're thinking holistically.
That clarity and authority, it feels like a natural bridge to building real trust, moving beyond just selling coverage.
It absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the human touch, backed by solid tech, really makes a difference. Look, most people aren't lying awake worrying about policy riders. They're worried about paying for college, or retiring comfortably, or getting out of debt.
So the agent needs to connect to those goals.
Yes. And by integrating these value-added services, the agent becomes more than a salesperson. They become that trusted advisor.
And a big part of that, based on the materials, seems to be financial education. Not just pamphlets, but real one-on-one time.
Definitely. Experior puts a strong emphasis on that. The agent acts almost like an interpreter, breaking down complex stuff into simple terms. That builds incredible loyalty.
Helping clients see how insurance fits into the bigger picture.
Exactly. And using the EFA outputs, they can show concrete strategies, like, here's how we can restructure that credit card debt, or here's a plan to tackle the mortgage faster, saving clients potentially thousands in interest. That's powerful.
That does sound transformative. Let's make it concrete with those examples you mentioned from the sources. James and Claire, they came in for basic insurance.
Yeah, typical young couple, mortgage, young kids, feeling a bit overwhelmed. They knew they needed life insurance.
But the conversation went further.
Right. The agent used the EFA and showed them a path where they could actually accelerate their mortgage payoff by 7 years and start an RESP for their kids' education, all within a budget that worked.
Wow, so they didn't just leave with a policy.
No, they left with a strategy, a plan for a debt-free future, basically.
Yes.
You can imagine the relief. That's what builds that long-term relationship.
That's a great illustration. What about Anita, the single professional with credit card debt?
Similar idea. She needed coverage, yes. But the agent, using the EFA analysis, quickly pivoted to her immediate pain point, that high-interest debt.
Helping her restructure it.
Helped her create a manageable repayment plan. So secured her finances today, which, in turn, helps ensure she can actually afford and keep her coverage long-term. It's connected.
And then there are the peace of mind services, like help with estate planning.
Yeah, that's key too. Agents provide support on those non-insurance parts of legacy planning.
Yeah.
Things like basic will preparation guides, legacy checklists.
But they don't give legal advice, right?
No, absolutely not. Critically, they facilitate connections to qualified legal professionals when things get complex. It ensures the client gets full support without the agent stepping outside their expertise.
Right, avoiding those tricky legal rabbit holes. Okay, so that covers the client-facing value. Let's pivot inward a bit. How does Experior support the agent's own growth and effectiveness? Starting with the policies themselves, using things like writers.
Good question. The training really emphasizes using writers, critical illness, child term, disability waiver of premium strategically, not just as upsells, but as ways to truly personalize the protection.
So, explaining them in simple terms.
Yes, plain language. Shifting the focus from just the death benefit to how the policy protects the client throughout their life. That makes the policy feel much more relevant and valuable right now.
Makes sense. And beyond product training, what about the structural support, mentorship, help with scaling a practice?
It seems quite robust. They offer custom training for new agents, which includes coaching on handling objections. That's crucial.
Always a tough one.
Isn't it? And for more established agents, there are things like weekly mentorship calls, live Q&As with product specialists. It creates a culture of ongoing learning.
Which must be helpful for people changing careers, too. The sources mentioned former teachers, nurses.
Absolutely. Those individuals often bring fantastic people skills, but need that specific industry knowledge and support structure to succeed. Experior seems geared towards providing that.
And they help agents navigate the ever-changing regulatory landscape, too, compliance.
Yes, that's a huge benefit. They guide agents on staying current with regulations. So the agent isn't shouldering that entire burden alone. That's a massive relief for an independent operator.
Okay, this seems to tie into something this source called the unique tribrid model. That sounds like, well, jargon if we don't break it down. What exactly is that model, and how does it help the agent?
Right, it needs unpacking. Basically, the tribrid model tries to blend the best parts of 3 different structures. First, you get the broker or MGA access. That's the freedom, the 30-plus carriers we talked about.
Okay, Joyce got it.
Second, you get the strong, centralized support and back-office systems. Things like compliance, training, tech support. Stuff usually associated with being a captive agent. It produces the administrative headache.
Right, support structure.
Yeah.
And the third part.
The third part borrows from the network marketing organization model. This gives agents a compensation structure and, importantly, a pathway to build their own team. It incentivizes mentorship, collaboration, and allows for scalable growth by recruiting and developing talent within their own agency.
Interesting. So it's choice plus support plus a model for team building and leveraged income.
That's the concept. Freedom, institutional level support, and a clear path to potentially building a large, profitable team or agency, all rolled into one system.
That structure does sound like it's designed to tackle some of the classic pain points for independent agents who can sometimes feel pretty isolated.
I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
But, we have to circle back to the ultimate point. The tech is great, the structure is smart, but none of it works without the human element.
The relationship.
Exactly. Agents are really encouraged to focus on emotional intelligence, on being truly present for clients. When you're talking about someone's family, their future, their legacy, that genuine connection, that empathy, that's the real competitive edge you can't replicate with software.
So let's try to synthesize this for the agent listening. The advantage seems to be this combination. You get the market reach with 30 plus carriers, the efficiency and credibility from tools like the EFA, and then this tri-bridge structure providing back-end support, compliance, peace of mind, and a path for growth.
Yeah, that combination aims to equip the agent to deliver that clarity, confidence, and actual financial control that clients are demanding now.
And the analysis really suggests that if the agent focuses on those tangible non-insurance goals for the client, like getting out of debt faster, planning for retirement confidently, funding education.
Then the agent's own business growth, the client loyalty, it tends to follow naturally. The business almost takes care of itself when the client's big picture is the priority.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, our listeners. We've talked a lot about providing value beyond the policy itself. So, reflecting on your own practice, what's one educational piece or one non insurance planning approach, maybe something you could illustrate with a tool like the EFA that you could integrate into your client conversations starting tomorrow to really become that indispensable long term guide? Something to think about as you plan your next client meeting.